Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening, Ma'am Ching Ching. Kamusta?
Good evening po.
Okay.
Good evening. I think we can start. Everyone's ready. So I hope you would not be bothered. Medyo merong construction na ginagawa dito sa aming building. I hope it would not disturb us. Okay, so my apology for that. Okay, so Ma'am Ching Ching, would you mind leading us for a prayer?
Sir Majid,
Yes, sir. Meron po ba naka-assign? Sorry.
Sir Dixon Kapalaran.
Oh, Sir Dixon. Okay, my apologies. Sir Dixon,
Naka-assign,
yes.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay po.
Teacher A.
Sir,
Okay
pass
po.
lang muna ako sa prayer, sir. Pwede?
Yes, yes,
Di ako
yes.
naka-prepared. Di ako naka-prepared, sir.
Yes, thank you. Oh, may naka-assign naman po pala. So, my apology. Yes, Sir Dixon. Go ahead.
Okay po. Let us be aware that we are in the loving presence of the Lord. All together in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. All together in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, for our Muslim sisters in Islam. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wal barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Amen. Once again, good afternoon and good evening for dun sa ating mga nasa Pilipinas at good morning din dun sa iba pa na sa ibang panig ng mundo. Okay, and welcome to Teacher A Online Review Center, and I am your review facilitator, Sir Mads. Okay, Sir Darwin S. Majid. Okay, I am presently in Saudi Arabia po, no? So, afternoon dito. Yan. Hello, Ma'am Mrs. Rodriguez. Yan. Good afternoon. Yan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Good afternoon to everyone also, and also to the Facebook viewers and participants.
So I will just unmute. I'll just mute my cell phone, okay, that I'm using for the Facebook Live, and shout out, okay, for those Facebook Live viewers, 85. Ayan. Welcome po. Okay, so I think someone is assigned to admit. Okay, so let's move on. So my topic is again facilitating learning, which is under Prop Ed. Okay, one of the topics under the category of Prop Ed. So this is my teaching code and my guiding code when I'm teaching. Would you mind reading it, Ma'am Charissa? Ayan. Hello, Ma'am Charissa.
Sir?
Yes, would you mind reading? Is my screen sharing po? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yes, Ma'am Charissa, would you mind reading? Good evening, Ma'am Thessalonica Joy. Yeah. Kami with my problems sa reception. Okay. So, okay. Yan. Okay, clear na. Sige, go ahead.
Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. By Benjamin Franklin.
Okay, thank you very much. So again, in our review, I would like everyone to take part, participate. The more questions that you will throw to me, the more chances of winning, the more chances of winning. The more elaborated rationalization will be given, so that I will be able to enlighten you on some of the concepts that somehow are very confusing to each one of us, no? Especially in Prop Ed, no? Because there are a lot of concepts and prop ed, especially facilitating learning, marami po siyang covered. And later on, you will be able to see that. And as I said, when you are reviewing or answering questions, be able to identify, no, on what particular topic and prop ed it is under. So that pag hindi po natin nakuha ng tama, then we can simply go back to that. No? Let us not just answer. Let us also try to identify what are those topics. Okay, so our target competencies is the following. Okay, analyze the cognitive, metacognitive, motivational, sociocultural factors that affect learning. And at the same time, also, to organize the learning environment that promotes fairness, responsive to learners' needs and difficulties. Take note, facilitating learning is all about how we teach, okay, or how we introduce learning to our students. So, as I said, curriculum is the learner, okay? The curriculum is the learner itself. So, facilitating learning is presenting experiences, learning experiences. Yan. So, again, these are my simple tips. I just like always to give you, have your own strategy, strategize, especially on the concept na medyo mahirap itandaan, okay? Such as the different learning theories. We need to have a guiding words, okay? Especially on the different types of conditioning. Ito kasi yung medyo nakakalito or confusing, no? The types of conditioning, whether it is classical conditioning or operant conditioning, then the theories about it, the association theory and attribution. So kailangan nating ma-identify ano yung main difference so that when we encounter question, kaagad alam natin na classical conditioning siya. Kaagad alam natin na operant conditioning siya. So kailangan natin magkaroon ng strategy to be able to identify even that minimal difference, no? Minimal difference. Okay? Kasi yung operant, under operant conditioning, nandun na rin yung classical conditioning. Pasok siya doon. Nandun siya, kasama siya. Hello, Ma'am Angeli. Kamusta po? And so, I hope someone is in charge in that meeting. May naririnig po bang background sound? Nakaka-disturb? Such as drilling? Meron po ba? Give me a thumbs up kung meron po. And I hope you will not be bothered, okay? Next is logic. Ayan, logic. So when we say logic, there are questions that sometimes hindi natin siya napag-aralan o hindi natin siya nabasa. But with the use of logic, or logical reasoning, we will be able to filter out ano yung talagang expected answer. So logic, okay? Let's have that logic. Then that one is the read, review, and answer and repeat. Yan. Puso. Ayan. Konti malapit na, no? Malapit na. So I know all of you are excited to take your board exam, and I'm looking forward that each one of you will make it, no? Will make it, no? Pass and claim it already, according to our tagline, no? The Teacher A Online Review Center's tagline, okay? Puso. The next is the most important one, yan. Learn, unlearn, relearn. As I said, review is part of enlightening us on the concept that we know already. And when we review, there are things sometimes that we are presented with questions that we have encountered already in a reviewer. Whether isang reviewer yan, dalawang reviewer, tatlong reviewer, they come up with the same question but different answers. So that will induce confusion. And we should not blame whoever is the creator of that question or the author of that reviewer. Because we need to learn on ourselves, we need to identify and be convinced ano ba talaga yung dapat na sagot. And how would we do that? Learn what you know already, unlearn what you know already, and try to relearn what is current or present para hindi tayo ma-confuse. Yan. So our learning targets are the following. Ma'am Maria, would you mind reading it? Yun, hello, 184 participants in our Facebook Live. Facebook Live. Yan. Kamusta po sa kanila lahat? Yes, go ahead.
Learning targets, principles and theories of learning, principles and theories of motivation, facilitating learning principles and theories, and metacognitive knowledge.
Okay. So this is our learning target in our review. So dinagdagan ko siya in our review, yung mga kasama ko last time, hanggang facilitating learning theories lang tayo, no? But now, I added metacognitive knowledge, metacognition, yan, which is a very important aspect of learning, especially when we talk about facilitating learning in the present time. Okay. So let me call on Ma'am Precious. Would you mind reading?
If you teach a person what to learn, you are preparing that person for the past. If you teach a person how to learn, you are preparing for the future.
Okay, so that is what is facilitating learning is all about. As a teacher, we need to know on how we facilitate, how we unfold learning to our learners. And when we talk about facilitating learning, we are talking about the different aspect of learning. Ano po ba yun? Motivations, experiences, okay? Their development, the children development. Kaya pagdating sa facilitating learning, kasama din yung mga different learning theories such as the behaviorism, connectionism. So nandyan, Gestalt psychology. So psychology is part of facilitating learning kasi pinag-aaralan natin on how the learner unfold its learning. So ito yung kailangan nating i-focus, no? So ito yung quote that is always associated when we talk about facilitating learning. And again, we need to have it presently. Kasi yung dati, okay, iba yung generation of learners during that time, iba rin yung generation of learners now. Whatever that is being used previously might not be applicable to the generation of the learners now. Kaya pag nagbago ang curriculum, nagbabago din yung how we facilitate learning. So it includes teaching strategies, motivations, and everything. Yan. Mrs. Rodriguez, hello po. Would you mind reading? O baka naka-work na sa work si Madam.
Hello, sir. Yeah,
Hello,
sorry.
yes. Nasa work ba?
Yes, sir. Reading, okay. We learn 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, 50% of what we see and hear, 70% of what we discuss, 80% of what we experience, and the most important thing is that 95% of what we teach to others.
Okay, so this is based on William Glazer's, no? So William Glazer is one of also important person when we talk about facilitating learning. Now, with all of those, in one word, ano ang facilitating learning? In one word, if curriculum is the learner, what is facilitating learning? So that's my question. I'll give you time to think. Give me one word that once you have that one word in mind, ayan, at facilitating learning to. One word. Assist. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you, Ma'am Joanne. So again, in one word, facilitating learning. Pag ang curriculum, sinabi ko dati, pag curriculum, ang isipin mo kagad, the learner. Bakit nagbabago curriculum? Nagbabago learner.
Process of learning, sir.
Process. One word lang. One word lang. One word lang. Have it one word. Okay. Assist, according to Ma'am Joanne, Ma'am Queenie, facilitate. Okay. What are we facilitating and what are we assisting? What are we guiding? Ayan. According to Sir Dennis, guide. How about application? Correct. What do we apply? So, Ma'am Mai, evaluation. What do we evaluate? Which means that's how we facilitate learning. One word. Again, curriculum, learner. Facilitating learning. Bakit kasama yung children development? Bakit kasama ang motivation? Bakit kasama ang social factors? Bakit kasama ang conditioning? Engage. Okay. Correct. Scaffolding. Correct. Sir Reynante. Okay. Starts with letter E. Ayan. Starts with letter E. process. What do we process? That tends to be learning. Instruction. Okay.
Engage of classroom, sir.
What do we engage in the classroom? Yan. Correct. So one word lang, Ma'am Ching. What do we engage in the classroom? That we process, we evaluate, part of our instruction, assessment. Yan, malapit na. Start with letter E.
Evaluation, sir.
Evaluation. Okay.
Enhancement.
Enhancement. Okay. So facilitating learning, facilitate. What we consider the one that we facilitate as a source of learning? Education. Okay, correct. Education. Environment. Okay. Yes, it is part of the environment. That's correct. Educate. Educare. Okay. Impart knowledge. Okay. Where does knowledge originate? O, saan nag-originate ang knowledge? Yun, may tumama. Okay, very good, ma'am. Excellent answer, ma'am Lizelle Libuon, one of our first book live viewers. So tumitingin po ako sa baba kasi sa baba yung cellphone ko. The correct answer is, when we say facilitating learning, we talk about experience. Learner experience. Yes, correct. Okay, the one that we engage, the one that we facilitate, the one that we evaluate as our assessment, our instruction is based on the experience. Yan. So the first one to get the correct answer is Ma'am Lisa Live on. Okay, so that is experience, learner's experience. Di ba? Sinabi na, experience is the best teacher. So the learning on how we facilitate learning is actually based on the experience. Kaya meron tayong law of readiness, law of effect, law of exercise. Diba? So law of recency. So when we say facilitating learning, it's all about experience of the learner. So tama po yung mga sagot natin kasi pasok doon yung experience. You encourage, you educate, you evaluate, you engage, then that means experience. Okay, so facilitating learning, we are going to look at the flow of the map of facilitating human learning, then we will be able to see learning knowledge, okay? Then we talk about the theories, and as we move on, all of this in one word, talk about the learning experience, the unfolding of learning based on the experience of our learners. Nung bata siya, ito yung kanyang kinalakihan, ito yung kanyang environment, ito yung kanyang na-experience. The first word na lumabas sa bibig niya is first experience. Are we clear po? Then when he or she go to the classroom, he will encounter another experience that will actually affect his learning. Diba? Learning is a manifestation of change in behavior. And when we say behavior, it is experience. Let us connect the classical conditioning of Ivan Pavlov, talking about the meat and the dog, di ba? So dito pumapasok, pag sinasabi natin, tatandaan natin, pag classical conditioning, stimulus, and automatic response, yun ang tatandaan mo eh. So pag nakita ka ng pagkain, automatic, hindi mo kailangan pag-aralan ang maglaway. Kaya ang ginamit doon is salivating or salivation kasi automatic response yun, hindi na pag-aaralan yun, di ba? Hindi pinag-aaralan ang mag-induce ka ng saliva. Automatic response mo yun pag nakikita ka ng pagkain. So hindi mo siya pinag-aralan. It is an experience already. Now, in that case of classical conditioning, pinasok niya yung bell. So nagkaroon ng association. That's another experience. Do you agree? Give me a thumbs up. So again, When we say facilitating, it's all about experience. Di ba? Paano natin gagamitin ang experience para ma-unfold natin yung learning sa bata. So kaya yung classical conditioning, operant conditioning, yung punishment and reward, it's all about experience. So kaya pag sinabi natin facilitating, experience lang siya. Okay? Thinking beyond thinking. Paano nagiging malalim ang pag-iisip mo or thinking outside of the box? That is when you experience a lot. Okay? When you experience a lot. Sabi doon sa nakita ko sa isang meme sa Facebook, I would like to share, bakit ang tao nalulungkot? Bakit ang tao nalulungkot? And whether you agree or not, ang sabi doon sa meme sa Facebook, bakit ang tao nalulungkot? Kasi mas marami siyang nalalaman. Mas marami kang nalalaman, mas nalulungkot ka. Do you agree? Give me a thumbs up. Di ba yung baby kasi, di ba, kaunti lang yung alam niya. So, panay tawa siya. Then, hanggang sa lumaki na lumaki yung utak niya, hindi yung utak, yung laman, yung na-infuse natin sa ating isipan, mas lalo tayo nagkakaroon ng connection between our emotions and what the knowledge that we get. So, mas lalo tayo nagiging mas marami tayong na-unfold na learning, mas lalo tayo nalulungkot. Yan. Thank you. So, let's move on. Okay. Yes, good evening, Ma'am Kim Ben Casalia. Okay, learning in a nutshell, again. Facilitating learning is defined by adaptation, assimilation, and accommodation. Combine all of those, that will break down again to experience. Okay, that will break down again to experience. So learning is an ongoing process of continued adaptation to our environment, assimilation of new information, and accommodation of new input to fit prior knowledge. Yung alam mo na, naka-experience ka ng panibago, that will become part of your learning. Tulad dito sa review natin, you conduct your own self-review, and we're so happy that you choose Teacher A Online Review Center to be your partner in reviewing and preparation to the board exam. So again, we are here to help you, to enlighten you, not to confuse you. If there are some things that will result into confusion, again, let us go to our self-actualization to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Yan. So to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay. Theories of learning. So when we talk about facilitating learning, we need to pay attention on this important. Okay? Dito tayo mag-concentrate dito sa mga bagay na to. Because most of the question in facilitating learning, again, is all about experience. So it will start with theories. Then from theories, it will include psychology. Okay? So yung mga nakasama ko last time, I have presented this to you, and I'm doing it as a review because that would be a prerequisite to our topic for today. So theories of learning, okay. The Ivan Pavlov, classical conditioning, Edward Lee Thorndike's connectionism, the stimulus response, the strengthening of the connection between the stimulus and the responses. So si Ivan Pavlov, more on behavior, okay? While Thorndike is more on the result of the behavior, the connection, the strengthening of the connection between the stimulus and the responses given. So again, that is experience. And the most common is Albert Bandura. Di ba si Albert Bandura? Okay. And Teacher Online Review Center will inform us about the passing of Albert Bandura. Okay. So again, social observational learning theory. Again, that is experience. Okay. Cognitive and metacognition. Okay. So meaningful learning theory, discovery, inquiry method by Jerome Bronner's, Wolfgang Kohler's insight learning or insight ideas. Where do we get ideas? That is based on how much experience do we have already. It's not just from the book that we read, but connecting what we know and what is happening. Okay? So, yan po. Information processing. So, eto dito pumapasok ang dual coding when we use images. Yun. Hello, Sir Iceball. Yan. Nasa Facebook si Sir Iceball. Okay. So again, please pay attention on all of this when you review about your facilitating learning or prop ed, no? Yan. So some of these are always part, especially lalo na po, again, ulitin ko, yung classical and operant, yan. Kailangan talaga natin, pag classical, tatandaan natin, stimulus, okay, unconditioned stimulus, meaning it is normal, nandyan lang siya, and it will result into an automatic response. Halimbawa, nakita mo yung crush mo, na-amaze ka, hindi natututunan ng pagiging amazed. Do you agree? O pagiging excited. Diba? Hindi natututunan yon, hindi tuturo sa'yo ng teacher yon. Na pag nakita mo yung yung crush mo o yung first love mo, kikiligin ka, kilig to the bones. Hindi tinuturo yon. It is your automatic response. So that is classical. Okay? Kaya kailangan alam natin paano, what's the difference, kasi yung classical and operant, doon tayo medyo nalilito. So pag pay attention natin yon. Basta tatanda natin, pag classical, automatic response mo, hindi tinuro sa'yo. Nasa sa'yo yun, hindi tinuro ng teacher. You behave that way because that is what you experience, that is what you feel. So that is classical. Hello, Ma'am Annalyn Inocencio. Yeah. So Maslow hierarchy, which is very important, especially in the time of pandemic. Sabi nila, Maslow before Bloom's. Maslow before Bloom's, we need to ensure first the security, the safety, the sense of belongingness of our learners more than infusing or facilitating knowledge. Okay? So kaya nagkaroon tayo ng social-emotional learning. Okay? Hindi na lang siya collaborative learning. Hindi na lang siya experiential learning. Hindi na lang siya learner-centered approach learning. Pero kailangan din nating panghawakan yung kanilang social-emotional learning, SEL. Ito yung bago nating type of learning in this time of crisis, no? Hello, Sir Leonard Panganiban. Okay. So let us discuss now metacognitive knowledge. So, Ma'am Angeli.
Yes, sir.
Yes, would you mind to read metacognitive knowledge?
Okay, metacognitive knowledge. Knowledge refers to acquired knowledge about cognitive processes, knowledge that can be used to control cognitive processes.
Okay, so when we say metacognitive, take note about that cognitive. When we say cognitive, that's mind, that's thinking. But what makes metacognitive a higher level of knowledge or higher level of thinking is that you control, okay? You control. Hindi ka lang nag-iisip, but rather you control. You go deep the way you think, thinking outside the box, thinking beyond thinking. Hindi ka lang nag-iisip. Okay? Mas nag-iisip ka pa, kinokontrol mo pa yung pag-iisip mo. Yan, kinokontrol mo yung pag-iisip mo. Kinokontrol mo pa yung iniisip mo. Okay, let me correct that. Hindi mo kinokontrol yung pag-iisip mo, kundi kinokontrol mo yung iniisip mo. Okay. So, again, metacognitive, meta, no? Mas malalim. Thank you for that, Ma'am Angeli. Okay. So when we talk about metacognitive, it is associated with flavor. Okay. So Ma'am Queenie, would you mind reading? Good evening, Ma'am Eileen Napao and Sir LJ.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
Flavel further divides metacognitive knowledge in three categories: knowledge of person variables, task variables, and strategy variables.
Okay, so can you give me a heart or a thumbs up if you have a prior knowledge about metacognitive? In your college, in your present day, you have encountered about this metacognitive, the person variable, the strategy variable, task variable. Give me a thumbs up or a heart. I am also inviting our 158 Facebook Live viewers. Okay, bago siya. So I hope I will be able to help you, no? Okay, so this is an input, a new input on our metacognitive. So let us have it one by one. Person variable. Ayan, person variables. Ma'am Joanne.
Person variables. This includes how one views himself as a learner and thinker.
Okay. Take note, my dear LPTs, that when we talk about learning, it is a sole responsibility of the learner. The work of the teacher is to facilitate, to assist, to guide on how that learning unfolds or open up. So the learner should have its own volitions to learn and to think. So we need to have the learner to have a high order thinking skills. High order thinking skills, critical thinking. Hindi lang siya nag-iisip, pero nag-iisip siya ng critical. Bakit ko kailangan pag-aralan to? Bakit kailangan kong maging part to ng learning ko? Okay? Next. Ma'am Precious. Good evening, Ma'am Samantha. Good evening. Task variables. Yes, Ma'am Precious. So before our practice questions, I always give inputs, no? Especially when I know that this is very important to know, especially in facilitating learning. Metacognition is always a word associated with that. So wala si Ma'am Precious. Okay. Task variables. Knowledge to task variables includes knowledge about the nature of the task as well as the type of processing demands that it will place upon the individual. Okay. So the way we think is in relation to a certain goal or certain task at hand. So it includes now the development of problem-solving skills. Okay? High order thinking skills will always equate problem-solving skills. Logical thinking. Yan. And then we have strategy variables. Yan. Sir Clark, hello, kumusta? Would you mind reading, Sir Clark? Sir Clark. Okay. Okay. So, Ma'am Angeli na lang ulit. Ma'am Angeli?
Yes, sir. Strategy variables, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Strategy variables. Knowledge of strategy variables involves awareness of the strategy you are using to learn a topic and evaluating whether this strategy is effective.
Okay. So strategy. So if we will have, again, when we say task variables, it equates problem solving. And when we look at a certain problem, there are different way on how we solve that. So that talks about strategy. Okay? Yung pag-iisip natin naapektuhan din ng strategy that we're using. For example, mnemonics. When we talk about memory, no? Memory, keeping what we know in our mind, we use different strategies like mnemonics. We create mnemonics, we create jingles. Yan. And I do encourage you about that. Okay? I'm doing that. Pero wag natin gawin yung jingle, baka kasi habang nag-exam tayo, kumanta tayo, no? So, let us just have a mnemonics or the jingle, we can use that so that while we are doing something, naalala natin kung ano yung mga inaral natin. And sabi sa memory, to retain much information is that we associate places. Yan. We associate places kung saan natin inaral yung bagay na yon. For example, pumunta ka sa isang lugar, dala mo yung reviewer mo, nabasa mo tong notes na to, i-connect mo ngayon yung nabasa mo doon sa lugar na yon. And once you connect the place, eventually your mind will process those different informations. Bigla nilang papasok yun. Diba? Pag parang nabasa ko to sa sala. Parang nabasa ko to sa, yan. So, hindi lang yung material na binasa mo, let us also make use of the environment where we read that particular thing. And I assure you, mas madali nating mariretain o maaalala, mariretrieve yung information. So that is what we call strategic variables. Again, metacognition is thinking beyond thinking. Hindi mo lang inalala yung inaral mo, pero may inalala ka pang iba na nakatulong sa'yo para maalala mo yung gusto mong maalala. Huwag lang maging malala. Okay? Maalala. Okay? To remember. Yan. Meta-attention. Okay. So meta-attention is the highest level of attention that we give to keep ourselves in attention to a certain task. For example, now, okay, I am discussing to you. Okay? It is within your own whether you are paying much attention or not. Di ba sinasabi lagi ng teacher, pay attention. Focus your attention. Now, based on studies, our attention span is related to our age. Okay, that's based on the studies, no? And when we say studies, there is an evidence to that. Now, we don't tend to go against those studies, but rather, based on our own self, let us think, totoo ba yung sinasabi na kapag yung attention span ko sa isang bagay, depende sa edad ko. So, ibig sabihin, pag ganito, eto lang yung attention span ko, napakaikli. Kaya yung mga bata natin, minsan, di ba, 40 minutes yung discussion, halimbawa, within a certain seconds or minutes, nilalaro na yung ballpen, nilalaro na yung pencil, kung ano-ano na yung ginagawa. So as a teacher, when we talk about facilitating learning, we need to get their attention. And it's not just an attention, it is meta-attention. We need to glue them to what we are doing. And how I do that, how I glue you to my review is involving you. Okay? By asking you questions, by asking not just a question, but a diverse type of question. A divergent type of question. More answer. Katulad kanina, pag sinabi natin facilitating learning, one word. So, sinabi ko yung conditions, one word lang. May nag-isip phrases, may nag-isip group of words. Pero nag-isip word talaga. Then eventually, they started and I help you by doing probing as an art of questioning. Binibigay ko. What do you use to assess? What do we evaluate? What do we use in our instruction? And eventually, Ma'am Libon were able to get the correct answer, which is experience. So facilitating learning is all about experience. And paying much attention is also an experience. Katulad din, papasok ko yung classical conditioning. Oh. Okay. So I will, sorry, Mr. Sam, again. So when we talk about meta-attention, we tend to, we have a native English speakers. So we need to glue the attention. We need to get the attention of our learners to what they are doing. Take note. Metacognition is affected by the person variable, yourself, the task variable, okay, the things that you are doing, and the strategy that will be used to cut your attention. Again, meta-attention tends to go against what we call attention span. And according to study, the attention span is related to our age. Again, whether it is true or not, we ourselves, we will be able to know that. Okay. For example, we have our review for 2 hours. And so much I've been talking, I've giving you inputs. Now it is within your volitions if you're paying much attention, whether it is 100%, 75%, or 90%, and that is part of your own, that's your part of your own learning or your interest. And what I need to do is to cut your attention to induce meta-attention. I want you to glue. I want you as my reviewer to be glued on what we are reviewing. And how I do that? By asking divergent questions. To make you think beyond thinking. Facilitating learning, you define that as a very long statement or words. or group of statements. But if you're going to define that in one word, that is the challenge. We tend to use synonyms. So we associate synonyms, facilitate, guide. That's why we choose right away the word guide, because it means facilitate. But the expected word is experience. Why? Because that is what we are unfolding as a part of learning in our learners. Are we clear? So that is what we meant by facilitating learning, unfolding learning experience. So meta memory is your awareness of memory strategies that work best for you. So if I'm going to have that, one of my example is the term that we use in sports, which is muscle memory. Okay, muscle memory. Those who are playing basketball, I know you know what is muscle memory. On how you keep your shooting form when you're playing basketball, that is your muscle memory. And it needs thinking. Why? Because if you are just going to shoot the ball without knowing what is the best form for you, then you most likely to be shooting more than the basket that you can make, more than the basket that you can make within a certain time. Okay, so meta memory is again retaining information not just within a short period of time, but in a long period of time. And again, we can do that if we pay much attention. We don't just pay attention to the information at hand, but rather we pay attention to everything around. The same thing in the classroom, no? There is a study that they say that students retain much more attention if the learning is fun. Okay? If the learning is fun, when you infuse singing, yeah, okay, when you infuse drama. Now the question is how long the retention will stay, and that is one of the problem that we have. The retention factor is one of the problem that we have, and that is one of the challenges of facilitating learning. The retention factor, that the memory should not just be a short term, should not just be a long term, but most likely a meta memory. Okay, so cognitive and metacognitive factors. So we have the nature of the learning process. Okay, so metacognitive, the learning process is more meaningful or thinking beyond thinking if you can construct a meaning from the information and experience. So as what I'm saying, I am inputting information to you, and by this time you have a lot of experience. You are now retaining or remembering some of the information that you have previously from your previous teachers, from book that you have read. Okay, whether you agree with me or you go against with what I am having. So that is information processing and experience. Next is the goal of the learning process. The successful learning over time and with support and instruction guidance can create meaningful, coherent representation knowledge. So meaningful learning. Metacognition is not just learning, but it is a meaningful learning. And that is what we meant by retaining what we learn, because we know how to apply it. It is not how much we know, but how relevant what we know, okay, to what is happening around us. So that is metacognition. Sorry for that. Then we have the construction of knowledge. Okay, the successful learner can link new information with existing knowledge in meaningful ways. Now, in facilitating learning, there are questions that does not pertain to one topic. There are questions that might talk about one theories and connect that into another theories or into another principle. And later on, I will have that in my review, especially in some of the questions that I have. strategic thinking again. So there we still have those strategic thinking as part of the variable. And again, the most common word, thinking about thinking. Higher order strategies for selecting and monitoring mental operations to facilitate creative and critical thinking. So the millennials or the alpha generation are considered to be the 21st century learners. And their characteristic is defined as the 4Cs. So what are the 4Cs? Can you plug in your answer? What are the 4Cs that define the characteristic of the alpha gen or the millennials? And this is how the learner or how the teacher should be able to facilitate learning. So what are the 4Cs as the characteristic of our learners that will affect our instruction, strategies, approaches? Okay, what are the 4Cs? I'm inviting the 119 participants to plug in your answers. Also our Zoom participants, what are the 4Cs? Okay, you can unmute your microphone if you want to answer. Ma'am Shariza, what are the 4Cs as the characteristic of the 21st century learners? Am I clear? Give me a thumbs up if I'm clear, or the background sound is very strong. The drilling sound is very strong, so that you cannot hear me. So what are the 4Cs as the characteristic of the 21st century learners? And that's why metacognition is a part of it. Critical thinking, correct. That's one. Critical thinking, creative.
Collaboration, sir.
Collaborative or collaboration, correct. And what's the other one?
Communicative or communicate.
Communication. Yes. Okay. Yung iniisip mo, wag kang matakot to communicate that. Okay? How were you able? Take note, based on Glazer's, no? 95% of what we teach others. Okay? Because when we communicate our ideas, then we are helping other people also to process information based on what we are saying. And how they process that is based on what they experience. And they will also share what they know, so more learning. So that will result into brainstorming, collaboration. That's why you think critically, you think creatively, and one of the medium that is used is communication. So yan. So whether it is verbal or non-verbal communication. Okay, so yan po yung aking input, and let us start now. And I hope everyone we're going to answer. Again, our strategy is first, concentrate on the question, underline the stem of the question, encircle conditions or parameters, not keywords, conditions or parameters, eliminate two, and weigh. Well, if there are two answers that are possible answers. Okay? So give me a thumbs up if you're Gina. Gina ba? Game na ba? Game na ba kayo? So we're done with our input. Okay, we are now going to exercise our mind. Okay. Thank you, Mom Elmi Rowa. Okay. Thank you, Mom Lizelle. Thank you, Sir Gibson, for plugging in your answers. So I'm encouraging our Facebook Live viewers. Okay, we have. Okay, so we have one answers. Okay. May I ask Mom Queenie? Mom Queenie, would you mind reading po? Okay lang?
Hello po, sir.
Hello po. Yes, would you mind reading po?
As a special education teacher, Mr. R has students of different skills and levels. He therefore prepares activities for each group like fast learners, average learners, and slow learners. What is the basis of Mr. R for doing this? A. Interesting lessons. B. Low or readiness. C. Maximizing potentials. D. Varied activities and multi-level activities.
Okay. So, what is the stem of the question? Ano yung tinatanong? Ano yung pinaka-question? So take note, in Prop Ed, it's more of situational. So we need to be able to identify ano ba yung talagang tinatanong. So as a special education teacher, Mr. R has students of different skills and levels. He therefore prepares activities for each group, like fast learners, average learners, and slow learners. What is the basis of Mr. R for doing this? So what is the stem of the question? What is the thank you, Ma'am Gloria. So what is the stem of the question? Ano yung pinaka-tinatanong?
Preparation of activities, sir.
Okay, preparation of activities. Okay, very good. Preparation of activities. So give me a thumbs up and or a heart for our Facebook Live viewers. According to, sino po yun? Hindi ko nakita kung sino yung nagsalita.
Joanne.
Oh, yes, Ma'am Joanne. It's all about preparation of the activities. So again, facilitating learning, the teacher is a facilitator, di ba? So we are the facilitator of the learning. And again, learning is the sole responsibility of the learner. So why the Mr. R prepares activities for the learner? Very good. So if we are going to look at the choices, makita natin those choices are all possible answers. Do you agree? Give me a thumbs up if you agree. Interesting lessons, law of readiness, maximizing potentials, and varied activities in multi-level activities. Now, so there are various answers from our Facebook Live viewers, and there is also varied answers from our Zoom participant. And this is where the law of elimination will get in. So if we pay attention, our stem of the question is all about the preparation of activities. So ano yung dalawang tatanggalin mo? Ano yung dalawang tatanggalin mo? Mama Angeli, what are the two that you're going to eliminate? Mama Angeli.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What are the two that you're going to eliminate, and why?
Eliminate. My God. Sir, RS do this different. Wait, let's sir.
Okay, you can plug in your answers. Oh my God, Mama G.
Yes, sir. Wait lang. Wait lang, sir. May kausap kasi ako kanina. Wait lang, sir. Sige, sir. Siguro, sir, yung I'm not really sure. Letter C na lang siguro, sir. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Letter C and letter A.
Letter C and letter C and letter A. Okay. So
I'm not really sure, sir. Sorry.
It's okay. No problem. Okay, so letter A, we will remove interesting lessons. Okay, so interesting lessons.
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, and we are going to remove, according to Ma'am Lizelle, B and C. Okay. Do you agree? Law of readiness. So law of readiness. Sorry for typographical error. So that's the law of readiness, and I know you understand that already. Okay. That's law of readiness. Okay.
I can't hear you.
So the correct answer is Letter D.
Letter
Okay,
D.
and all of you were able to get that. Pero merong sumagot,
L lang.
yung iba sumagot na law of readiness. Okay, so law of readiness would be removed, okay, because kung nakalagay dyan yung pag tinanong about principle, so pwede tayo dun sa law of readiness. But it talks about the preparation of the activities. So why Mr. R as a special education teacher, okay, prepare activities for each level of, di ba, of the learners that we have. So, syempre, we're talking about facilitating learning. So if we have a varied learners in your class, so those past learners will feel bored, no? Will not be challenged anymore to do that particular, to listen. So again, take note, metacognition is inducing meta-attention. You need to glue your learners to the lesson. And sometimes in our classroom, merong talagang magaling, di ba? Or advanced readers. Okay? May advanced reader. Even in our review, meron tayong mga nag-advance, di ba? Na pag nakita yung question, okay, so, pag nakita ng question, wala pa yung choices na binibigay ni Sir Madge, sumasagot na. Okay, and that's good. Why? Kasi nakikita ko agad on how far is your preparation. And I were able to see right away na, teka lang, take note, ito yung tatanggalin natin sa sarili po natin, ha. Pag sinabi po natin nagre-review tayo, huwag natin tatandaan ang question. Okay? Huwag natin tatandaan yung question. Pero ang titingnan natin is the pattern of the question. Assalamualaikum, Sister Myra. Okay, the pattern of the question. Di ba? Yung doon sa binigay sa atin ni Teacher A na PRC online, PRC review, di ba? As a guide, no? Tingnan natin yung pattern of question. And looking at that pattern, we will be able to create our strategy. We will be able to can you mute your microphone, Ma'am Angeli? Sorry. Pa-mute po. Mute kita, ha. Yan, salamat. Hindi pala pwede mag-mute. Di ako yung folks. Okay. So, yan. So, that's why, yung sinasabi ko, we need to pay attention to the STEM. Yun. So, tatanggalin natin si letter A, and so tatanggalin natin si law of readiness kasi hindi naman siya tinatanong na principle. Pero kung principle, yun siya magiging sagot natin, no? Pero it's all about the activities. So kaya kailangan natin, makinig po, kailangan natin tingnan yung conditions or parameters kasi isang word lang yung maidagdag, magiging iba na yung expected answer. Okay? Magiging iba na yung expected answer. So yun yung tatandaan po natin. Baka sabihin, parehas yung question, pero hindi natin nakita kasi nag-focus tayo sa question lang, katulad sa reviewer, di ba? Kala natin parehas yung question, pero kasi yung nag-glue yung mata natin doon sa type of question na doon sa reviewer na yon. Pero doon pa sa isa, merong idinagdag na one word that make a greater impact kaya na bago yung tanong, yung sagot doon sa tanong na yun. So, yan po yung gusto kong i-emphasize sa inyo, no? Kaya that's why I don't call it in my technique as encircle the keywords, but rather encircle the conditions or parameters. Because that parameters or conditions will make you to decide. No? To decide accurately and precisely. So yan, natutuwa ako kasi ito kasi iniisip ko, madali na siya. Pero nakita ko, meron pa rin nagpagkakaiba kasi nga nabasa natin yung law of readiness, nabasa natin yung kaya meron sumagot ng law of readiness. Meron sumagot ng, yung nakita kong sagot, B and D lang naglalaban. Okay? So, again, it's not about the lesson, it's about the activities. Thank you. Okay. So, I hope my rationalization is clear. So, again, my advice to you is always look at the stem of the question and the conditions or parameters. So, in this question, babagsak to sa pang topic sa facilitating learning. The individual differences, di ba? Learning styles, so marami. So, pwedeng i-rephrase yung question na yan into different way, pero the same pa rin yung thought. So kaya pag nagkaano tayo ng mga reviewer, tingnan natin yung pattern. Let us not memorize the question, but the pattern on how the question is constructed. Next. Okay, so I'm looking at the Facebook feed or the stream on the Facebook Live. Medyo may delay ng konti. So, my apology, my Zoom participants. Thank you, Ma'am Ching Ching. Okay, so please do plug in your answers. I'm inviting our 127 Facebook Live viewers for question number 47 to plug in your answer. Okay, Ma'am Ching Ching, would you mind reading?
In the order to achieve a meaningful teaching and learning process, it is best to link and relate the lesson to the life of the student by integrating a relevant value in the lesson, which among the following agrees with his principle. A. Begin with the goal objective in mind. B. Share lesson objectives or outcomes with student. C. Write smart lesson objectives. D. Lesson objectives, outcomes integrated, and 2 or 3 domains: cognitive skills, affective, and psychomotor.
Okay.
My answer is letter C.
Okay, your answer is letter C. So I'm still waiting for our Facebook Live viewers to plug in their answer. Okay, so what is the stem of the question? Assalamualaikum, Sister Mahaira. Ma'am, Sir Dennis, what is the stem? Ano yung pinaka-tinatanong? Doon sa tanong, ano yung pinaka-tinatanong sa tanong? Ano yung main question?
Yung ano po, sir, wait lang sir, basahin ko muna po. In order to achieve a meaningful teaching and learning process, it is best to link and relate the lesson to the life of the student by integrating a relevant value in lesson, which among the following agrees with this principle. Yung STEM po, sir, is to link and relate the lesson to the life of the student, sir. Yung ano po, yun po yung STEM. Tapos yung ano ko po, sir, yung inalis ko po, sir, na ano, na kasi po yung STEM ko is to relate and integrate the relevant value of the lesson, sir, doon sa ano. Inalis ko po sa ano is yung ano po, letter ano po, C tapos letter B, sir, yung inalis ko po. Tapos answer ko po is letter D kasi po relate. Then yung ano po, yung nakalagay po sa ano sa letter D is lessons, objective, and outcomes with integrate with 3 domains. Alam naman po natin, di ba po sa ano paggawa ng ating lesson plan, yung 3 domains din yung ano cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Lahat na po yun nandun. Then yung si ano po, si cognitive about sa mind, then si affective po is about sa ano po, about sa ano po, emotion nung student, na ibig sabihin po makaka-relate rin po sila doon. Then yung psychomotor po is how to ano po, gawin yung bagay na itinuturo o paano po nila maaattain yung outcomes na yun, sir. Kaya yung answer ko po is letter D.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay. So the stem of the question is all about the, tama po, okay? So the stem of the question, tama po yung ano ni Sir Dennis, it's all about relating. So the stem of the question is the principle. Yan. Yes, okay, the principle which guides this particular, okay? That in order, so what is the principle behind that in order to achieve a meaningful teaching and learning, sabi niya, it is best to link and relate the lessons to the life of the students by integrating a relevant value in the lesson. Okay. So it talks about principle. Yes, the STEM is all about the principles of teaching. It's not just teaching. Take note. Right? It's not just thinking, but also learning process. So it's not just teaching. It is also learning process. You teach and you unfold the learning at the same time. Okay? Yung po yung titingnan natin conditions, ha? Meaningful teaching. It's not just meaningful learning, but meaningful teaching and learning process. Dalawa sila, magkasama. Okay? By relating the lessons to the life of the students by integrating a relevant value in the lesson. Okay? So, sinagot na ni Sir Dennis is letter D. Yan. Kasi, because of the experience of writing a lesson plan. Tama, di ba? Correct. Cognitive, affective, psychomotor. Yan. Yung po yung ano natin. Now, in the current, no, in the current system, pag nagsusulat tayo, nandun pa rin yung cognitive, okay? Cognitive, andun pa rin, andun yung psychomotor, pero napalitan siya ng tinatawag na disposition. Okay, disposition, the view of the learner towards the learning experience. Disposition mo. Yan. Kaya, kasi bakit? Kasi nga problema natin, nagkakaroon ng yung mataas na level ng depression sa mga bata. Diba? So, ang una natin, bago natin i-unfold yung learning, is una na natin uso yung dispositions nila. The view of to the learning. Yan. So, based on the experience, sinagot ni Sir Dennis yung letter D. Okay. Yung iba, ano kaya sagot? So, the correct answer is, so if you're going to look, analyze natin yung choices. Analyze natin yung choices. Again, all of these choices are possible answer. Kasi nga, di ba, sinabi natin, it is also important that we, okay, introduce the target objectives or the target competencies of the lesson. Para alam ng learner, magkaroon siya ng direction kung ano yung matututunan niya as part of his or her experience on that day or on that week. So the correct answer is letter C. Letter C. Write smart lesson objectives. Okay, take note. Achieve a meaningful. Lahat naman yan, lahat yan, pwede, okay, as you said, experience natin, di ba, lesson planning. Now, meaningful teaching and learning process. So, begin with the goal or objective in mind. The question is, what kind of goal or objective do you have for your learner? Diba? What kind of objective or goal in mind you have for your learner? That's the question. Then, share lesson objectives or outcomes that you are going to share. Now, the question is, again, what kind of lesson or outcome, like performance outcome, are you expecting the students to develop? Liwanag po. And again, letter D is a common one, as we know. Then again, when we write our objective, whether that's the cognitive domain, pag sinabi natin domain aspect, di ba? The cognitive domain, the affective, the psychomotor, again, to what level we want to reach that. Dati pag gumagawa kami ng lesson plan, I don't know pag ngayon, kung ngayon meron pa rin. Pag gumagawa kayo ng lesson plan, dati, so please inform me kung meron pa, nilalagay namin na at the end of at the end of 60-minute lesson, the learner are expected to, with speed and accuracy. May ganun pa. Nakalagay yung time. Di ba? So, SMART stands for what? Specific, measurable, attainable, reliable,
and timeline. Timely.
timely, or time-bounded.
Time-bounded kali.
Time-bounded. Okay. Yes, Sir Jordan. Bakit letter C? Okay. So, ulitin ko po yung aking paliwanag. So, again, it's all about the principle behind creating a meaningful and teaching learning experience. Okay? By putting in mind that whatever our objective will relate to the life of the students with its relevance to the lesson. Again, it is not how much you know. Hindi ito how much you know, but how relevant is what you know. Okay? Okay? It is how relevant is what you know. Take note, meaningful teaching learning. Pag sinabi nating meaningful teaching learning, there is an immediate application of the learning. So, bakit letter C? Ganito. Begin with the goal or objective in mind. Question. Anong klaseng goal or objective in mind ang gagawin mo? Anong sisimbolan mo? Diba? Anong klaseng objective in mind? Anong klaseng layunin ang gusto mo na makita sa learner mo? So that you will be able to infuse that it is a meaningful learning experience for your learner and also a meaningful teaching process for you as a teacher. Diba? Pag sa mga books natin ngayon, sa mga books, diba, makikita natin objective nakalagay. Define. Babalikan ko ulit yung paggawa ng lesson plan sa panahon namin. I don't know, pero alam ko ganun pa rin. No? Sa panahon namin, pag gumagawa ng lesson plan, nilalagay pa namin ng at the end of 60-minute lesson or at the end of 60-minute experiential activity or learning, the learners are expected to do the following with 85% speed and accuracy. So it's very specific, it is very measurable, it should be attainable, again, meaningful, meaning we can see right away the result as how we facilitate the learning. Again, the facilitating learning is all about experience. So specific, measurable, attainable, reliable, okay? Reliable, that will connote about the relevance of your lessons to the experience of the learner. And the next one is time-bounded. Time-bounded. Are we clear po? So I hope Sir Ryan, sino ba? Sir Jordan are able to answer your query, and I hope that would be a clear rationalization. Yes, that is if we are going to look at that, at the integrating relevance. So makikita natin talaga, pipiliin mo yung in order to achieve. So in order to achieve, meaning in the process, hindi mo pa ginagawa, gagawin mo pa lang. So yan. So yun yung titingnan natin. So kaya ang maiiwan natin dyan is letter C and letter D. So the best answer would be letter C. Kasi nga, again, whether it is cognitive, whether it's affective, whether it's psychomotor, all of those objectives within that certain domain should be attained within a specific, measurable, and time-bounded. Diba? Kailangan makita mo na agad yung gusto mong makita sa bata para masabi mo, nandun yung learning. Learning is a manifestation of changes in behavior. So when we say manifestation of changes in behavior, right away, makikita mo siya. Kahit balikan mo yung classical conditioning, pinakita yung meat, nagsalivate si dog, so nandun kaagad yung change in behavior. Then meat, then bell, associations, then makita mo na rin yung kagad yung reaction. So, binanandong kagad yung learning. Okay po? Gets po? Give me a thumbs up. So, the best answer would be letter C. Tama naman po kung letter D yung ano natin. Pero, again, metacognition, thinking beyond thinking. Cognitive. Okay, cognitive. Mind. Ano ba yung gusto mong makita? Okay? How do we able to process right away? Kailangan makita mo agad. So, we should be specific, measurable, attainable. Kasi nga, again, learning, facilitating learning is unfolding experience as a source of knowledge or information to our learners. Di ba? Do you agree po? So, again, tama po yung ano natin, either C or D, pero the best is letter C kasi nga, pag gumawa kayo ng cognitive, affective, again, kaya pinili ni Sir Dennis kanina kasi based on the experience, ganun ako gumawa ng lesson plan. Pero again, pag binasa natin yung entire lesson planning, meron tayong target time and target measure, whether it's 85% accuracy, 75% accuracy. Tama po ba? Ganun pa rin po ba yung lesson planning sa panahon nyo ngayon? O bago na? Mga education students.
Yes, yun sir. Ano sir?
Ganun pa rin ba na sinasabi at the end of 60 minutes? At the end of 60-minute lesson, the learners are expected to, with 85%. Ganun pa rin
Yes
po
po,
ba?
sir.
Yes sir, ganun din sir. Yes
Okay.
sir.
So meaning, hindi nagbago, di ba? Kasi yung smart na yan, bago lang yan, currently lang. Pero previously, wala yan. Pero ganun na naituro sa amin. So meaning, as a teacher, we will be able. Yes, it talks about meaningful teaching and learning. It's not just learning. No, it's involved. Yes, C and D is 80% similar answer. Correct. Pero pagka inisip mo siya, thinking beyond thinking, again, anong klaseng objective ba ang pumapasok doon sa cognitive ko? So that should be specific. Ano yung gusto mo talagang makita? Are we clear po? Copy? So ganito, pag nag-weigh tayo, ito yung sinasabi ko ngayon ng weighing or leveraging. Pag yung dalawang sagot closely related, now look at it whether the answer is within that other answer. Ibig sabihin, nasa loob siya ng isang answer. So pag sabi natin, right, smart lesson objective, lesson planning. Lesson objective or outcome, cognitives, lesson planning, parehas lesson planning. So tanongin mo na ngayon, pag gumawa ko ng cognitive objective, di ba dapat specific, measurable, attainable, reliable, and time-bounded? So kaya, letter C siya. Okay po? Give me a thumbs up po. So, especially those who are yung medyo, yan, sina Sir kanina. Ayun. Thank you po. Okay. So, you can also ask question, no? If it's not, the rationalization is still not clear. Pati pa rin po kayo magtanong. So that talagang mahimay natin. Ika nga, thinking beyond thinking. Yun, yung ginagawa nyo ngayon is thinking beyond thinking na. Bakit? Katulad ni Sir Dennis, kaya ako pinili yung letter D kasi lesson planning, yun ang ginagamit ko. Diba? Yun yung ginagamit ko. So you associate your experience to the question. Very good, Sir Dennis. Okay? Every day po ba may reviewer? The review for Teacher A Online Review Center is scheduled and Teacher A will announce the schedule. Yun. So just keep in touch with the Teacher A Online Review Center Facebook page and you can also communicate with Teacher A. Yan. Okay po. So Sir Mads is I'm just a facilitator. So if I have a spot, a slot or a session, yun po. So I will be with you. Thank you po. Ayan. So again, my rationalization, I would like to emphasize, that here in review, I am your review partner. And when we say review partner, the more questions that you have, the more that I can rationalize it. Okay? I am not here to affect your learning, but rather to help you. Okay? To help you. To look at the other side of looking at the question. May TLE po ba, sir? Yes, there is a major shift review. And I think Teacher A will be able to respond to those who are asking questions on the Facebook Live. No? Sir Raihan. Yan, Raihan. No? So again, and we are also preparing for our intensive, no, intensive review, and the intensive review is exclusive to those who are enrolled for Teacher A Online Review Center. So please just communicate, no, directly with Teacher A. Thank you po. Thank you, Ma'am Sophia. Okay, so let's move on. Any other? May question pa po ba? Especially yung mga ano. Again, I am your review partner. Okay, I don't want to affect the way you review, but I am giving you another way on looking. So ika nga, thinking beyond thinking. Isip. Yan. Kasi gano'n nagiging mahirap kung bakit nagiging mahirap yung Prof Ed. Kasi kailangan mo talagang ilagay yung sarili mo. And tama naman yung ginawa ni Sir Dennis. Nilagay ko yung sarili ko, lesson planning. Pero tanungin natin, yung nandun kasi yung smart. Social, meron din po. Major shift, lahat. Kompleto po yung Teacher A. Kindly let me know po how to enroll, sir. Please send PM, direct DM to Teacher A. Pwede po doon sa Facebook page. Pwede po kayo mag-message doon. Okay. So yung mga pwede pong sumagot kay Sir Raihan, yung mga nagre-review kay Teacher A, yung nakapag-enroll, please do response to Sir Raihan's inquiry. Thank you very much. So let's move on. Okay. So ito yung ano natin ng meaningful learning reception. Okay. So the meaningful learning reception by David Osebels, no? A concern with how students learn large amounts of meaningful material from verbal or textual presentation and learning activities. So titingnan natin siya dito, it should be relevant, no? So kailangan the relevance, meaning there is Prof Ed, Gen Ed, Major. Yes, meron pong review, okay? So idagdag po natin sa ating nire-review yung David Osebel's meaningful learning. So there is a lot of questions about. Sir, thank you, Sir Icepon, for responding. Yan, thank you, thank you. Okay, cognitive. Ayun, nandun yung cognitive natin. Again, when we set an objective, pag nagtuturo ka na, so kailangan mo i-present yung objective para alam ng bata. In one of the school, they recite the objective at the start of their lesson. Nire-recite nila, hindi nila binabasa. And then the next day, nire-recite nila ulit yung objective para nare-retain sa mind ng bata, ito yung the direction ko for this week, for this unit. Okay, yun. Sabi ni Ma'am Ching Ching, may group chat po ang Teacher A Online Review Center. So doon po kayo mag-chat-chat. Okay. Thank you. So thank you, Sir Iceball. Okay, for sharing the link for Facebook. So, kasi sa cellphone lang po ako tumitingin para makita kayo mga Facebook Live viewers natin. And I'm concentrating on the laptop. Thank you. So hindi po naka-on yung aking Facebook para walang sound or notification. Excuse me. Yes, okay lang po mag-enroll kahit next year pa mag-e-exam. Maganda po yun, nag-a-advance na rin kayo. Yan. Si Mrs. Rodriguez, yung kasama po natin sa Zoom participants ko, next year din po mag-exam. Okay, so I am inviting our 114 Facebook Live viewers to plug in your answer. Thank you, Sir LJ. Sir Gibson, thank you. Ma'am Edlin, kamusta po? Ma'am Evelyn, and Ma'am Joy. Sister Mohaira, would you mind reading? Okay lang?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
An Earth science teacher has just completed a unit on the sun. As the organizer for unit on the other star, he uses the sun as the frame reference. What view of learning was used? A. Discovery learning. B. Information learning. C. Meaningful learning. D. Transfer learning. My answer, sir, is letter C. Meaningful learning.
Okay, so what is the stem of the question? So the stem of the question is all about the type of learning. Yan. So, yan. So again, we're talking about facilitating learning. There are different types of learning. Discovery, information, meaningful. Ito yung pinaka ano natin na kailangan nating i-facilitate sa learners natin, 'di ba? Malaman nila yung relevance of what they are learning. Parang katulad natin, 'di ba? When we are studying dati in mathematics, 'di ba, yung algebra, yung mahirap na algebra, 'di ba, yung solving for x, mga ganon, or using the different coordinates, 'di ba? Yun, lalo na yung x, solving for x, finding the unknown, laging hanggang ngayon sinosolve pa rin, 'di ba? May mga joke nung panahon ko hinahanap na yung si x, hanggang ngayon hinahanap pa rin, hindi pa rin matagpuan. Okay. So we need to know what's the relevance of that. So that's the highest level of learning that we have. Then you transfer learning. So kailan ba masasabing discovery learning siya? Kailan ba masasabing information learning siya? Kailan masasabing transfer learning siya? So again, these are types or view of learning. So as a teacher, we need to know on what kind of learning are we infusing to our learners. On what kind of experience, learning experience do we want our learners to have? Is that about discovery? Is that about driving information to them? Is it about driving meaningful learning to what we are actually talking in the classroom? Or it's all about the transfer of learning? Yeah. Okay, so there is an announcement from Teacher A. Final coaching will be on last week of August. And those who want to enroll for the final coaching, they can send an inquiry sa page. So, yun. Thank you for that. Okay, so the STEM is all about the view of learning. And again, in Prop Ed, all of the choices are homogeneous. Ay homogeneous, ibig sabihin, pag sinabing learning types, so andun, learning types makikita mo, wala nang iba. Kaya talagang thinking beyond thinking ka. At paano ka magiging thinking beyond thinking? Okay, is looking at the information. And what is the information? The conditions or parameters. So, especially science teacher, alam nila to. Okay, yung science teacher, okay, yung mga parents natin, yung mga mommies and daddies, who are helping their children in their science lesson. So an Earth science teacher has just completed a unit on the sun. As she organized her unit on other stars, she used sun as the frame of reference. What view of learning she used? Okay, what view of learning was used? Sorry. So what view of learning was used? Bakit inisip? So the conditions there is bakit ginamit, no, habang nagpe-prepare si teacher sa kanyang lesson sa STAR, ginamit niya habang nag-organize, no? Or nagde-design ng kanyang learning, ginamit niya si Sun as the frame of reference. So, ano yung gusto niyang makita? Anong klase ng learning? Yan. So, let us see. Ano yung mga sagot ng ating mga Facebook Live viewers? Okay. So, ano bang tatanggalin natin? Is it about discovery? Pag sinabi natin discovery, it's more of exploration. Yes, correct, Ma'am Rika Jane. Okay. The stem of the question is why the teacher make use of the sun as the frame of reference. What is his view? What is her view, his or her view on that? Is that about discovery? Is that information? Is that transfer? Or is that meaningful? So ang tatanggalin natin, we will eliminate A, which is discovery. Yes, because there is no conditions or parameters that tells about that there is a discovery, an exploration. Then we also remove letter B. Okay? So, ayun, sabi ni Ma'am Ching Ching, sana po maka-enroll kayo. Sa halagang 500 pesos lang, maganda yung review natin. Ayan, sabi po ni Ma'am Ching. Okay. So, we will remove discovery, we will remove information, and we will be left by meaningful learning and transfer learning. Yes, remove natin si A and B. Tama, teacher Ma'am Mohaira. Okay, so hindi siya discovery, hindi siya information. Kasi again, hindi naman yung information yung pinopokus. Ang pinokus natin dito is the teacher organizing, okay, on how the teacher will present his or her lesson in STAR. Katapos niya lang ng SAN. So actually in grade 4, ang grade 4 kasi ng science is, ang grade 4 ng science po, sa mga science teacher, pag nakita niyo sa book niyo, ang grade 4 ng about solar system is talk about the sun. At kung ikaw rin yung grade 5 teacher naman nagtuturo din nun, makikita mo, iba naman, magiging star na siya. Okay? Magiging star na siya. So bakit hindi na sinimulan uli yung sa sun? So as a teacher, pwede natin gamitin as a frame of reference yung sun. Bakit? Take note about this. Sun is a star. Okay? Sun is a star. It is not a planet. It is a star. It is a ball of gas. So, the sun is a star. So, kapag nalaman na ng bata that the sun is a star, and you are going to present a lesson about stars, then therefore, they will be able to identify the characteristic why the sun is considered to be a star and not as a planet or not as an asteroid or not other heavenly bodies. So, meaning, it is more than transfer of learning. It is more of meaningful learning. Okay? It is more of meaningful learning. Why? Because they are the sun and star of the same topic. So you will be able to assess right away that your learners were able to connect the new information to the prior information that they have on the same content. Yes, Ma'am Arlene. Ma'am Miss Rodriguez. Okay. Yes, Ma'am Arlene.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. Kanina pa ako, sir, nag-raise.
Sorry. Kasi
no, it's okay.
Naka-one
I will
screen
answer
lang
to the
ako.
next question na lang, sir. Okay.
Okay, go ahead po. Any sharing po. And I know your answer is meaningful learning. Tama ba, Ma'am Arlene?
Wrong, sir. Actually, I made a wrong answer. Actually, my answer is transfer because I'm thinking that the science as the main subject area is they just transfer the ideas to the sun, to the star, something like that. Okay, we'll do it next time, sir.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am. Sorry for that. Sorry, my apology, no? Kasi naka-one screen lang ako. Kaya medyo hindi ko nakikita po yung nag-raise. My apology. Okay, let me just i-ano kayong participant para mas madali kong makita. Ayun. So, thank you po. Again, my apology. So, why it is meaningful? Kasi, again, ulitin ko, the sun is a star. Kung hindi po natin alam, the sun is a star. Okay, and when we talk about, especially science teacher, let us emphasize, no? Let us emphasize. Sir Mads is a science teacher and I'm always emphasizing that what we are learning is our own system, our own sun system. We are not actually studying the entire universe. Okay? We're just studying, focusing on our own solar system, the sun system, our own sun system, wherein Earth is part of it. Hindi pa tayo lumalayo. Ayan. Kaya pagdating sa grade 4, sisimulan niya yung sun. Then pagdating ng grade 5, stars. papasok na yung constellations, papasok na yung ano, kasi the idea of the sun as a star. So ano yung pina-point out natin na meaningful learning? The characteristic. Kaya pag gumawa tayo ng question, what is the difference between a planet and a star? Yan. So makakagawa na tayo ng magandang, so makikita na natin na nagkakaroon na ng kabuluhan yung inaaral ng bata. Maliwanag po. Okay, so that is meaningful learning. So David Osibel's meaningful learning is the relevance of the current information to the previous learned information. Okay. Yung transfer naman is different naman po yun. Pagka-transfer learning, it's more of application. There is an application already. So halimbawa, pagka gusto mong pagawain ng bata, yes, correct, tama. Meaningful learning kasi, yun, tama po. Very good, Ma'am Maila. You were able to point that one out. The condition that frame of reference. Frame of reference. Kinonect mo siya. So meaning, so as a teacher, ito po yung dapat nating maintindihan. Ano? Kung yung lesson natin is very important and critical to the understanding as like sun and star, so kailangan nating i-pay attention yung kanilang connections, yung kanilang relations. Okay? So kaya dito, huwag natin kakalimutan na pwede natin gamitin ang sun as part of our review as a prerequisite of presenting lessons about stars. Then from stars, we will have star pattern. Balik ka na naman ulit sa star. Ganun po. Yan, makikita natin. So yan, meaningful learning. So I hope my rationalization is clear. So yung transfer, iba na yun. No? Iba na yung application. Sa grade 6 naman, kaya makikita niyo yung mga nagtuturo ng science or mga generalists, magtataka ka, oh, grade 4 sa, grade 5, stars and constellation, grade 6, planets. Kasi ito naman yung dalawang bagay na importanteng pay attention natin. Yes, Ma'am Angeli. Sir Dennis, go ahead.
Sir, pwede pong ano po nung transfer learning, sir?
Okay. Pag sinabi nating transfer, okay. Pag sinabi nating transfer learning, it's more of application. Okay? It's more of the application of what you learn. Okay? And it's a different topic. There is no connection between what you know. Okay? It is you just connecting what you learn to a new topic that is not within the same content. Maliwanag po. For example, transfer of learning natin. Ang example natin, let us talk about solar system. From sun to star, tapos pumasok si planet. So they belong to the same. They belong to the same. We talk about solar system, but by content they talk different characteristics. So you can use that as a part of your comparison and abstraction. And one of the question about in some high order thinking skills question. What's the difference between a stars and a planet? Kasi dito nalilito yung bata. Okay, so especially, okay, papasok na po. Especially yung tinatawag nating exoplanet. Are you familiar with exoplanet? Give me a thumbs up. Paano malalaman ng isang bata na planet yung dumaan sa Earth and it's not just a star? Because they have the same characteristic. So the difference there is the starlight, yung twinkling. And I'm using that as an example because one of our students in IPSA, my school, created, that's this thesis actually, created a formula that can be used to identify an exoplanet with the use of a data from NASA. So, kasi yung planet at saka yung stars parehas na umiikot. Pero paano natin malalaman na ano na siya? So yes, constructive method, yung transfer. It's more of application na. So katulad ng ginawa nga ng estudyante ko, na gumawa siya ng formula, kasama may formula siyang alam sa math, kinonect niya sa science, then create a formula based on the data he obtained from NASA. So yun, na ginamit niya to identify an exoplanet with the characteristic na yung ng planet umiikot, hindi siya nawawala by time. Kasi yung stars twinkle, twinkle, di ba? Meron siyang transitions. So kaya alam mo kagad na that is an exoplanet. It's not a new star, but it is an exoplanet. A planet outside the solar system. Kaya ngayon, sa science natin, solar system, makikita natin, nagpo-focus tayo ngayon sa exoplanet. Especially mga science teacher, makaka-relate. At saka yung mga mahilig sa science, no, makaka-relate po doon sa sinasabi ko. So, yun po yung ano natin. Transfer is more of constructive method. So, kaya sabi ko, application. Yes. Yan, application. Okay. So, I will not stay on that. I hope my rationalization is clear. Bakit po siya meaningful? Meaningful learning kasi the same content. And because of the word frame of reference, sun is a star. Yan. So, ayan na ulit yung meaningful learning. Results when new information is acquired by linking the new information in the learner's own cognitive structure. So, yung pagkakaintindi mo sa sun, ito yung sun, a ball of gases, then ginamit mo ulit yung sun na discuss mo to introduce that star is a ball of gas. Yun. Kaya masasabi mo, the sun is a star. And the star has different colors. Marami ng lessons na pwede kang i-connect. Thank you, Mom Zelay. Well, Zelay. Sir, thank you for that. Thank you for your thoughts. So I'm inviting also our Facebook Live viewers to share their thoughts. And we can use that also as part of our rationalizations. Okay. Yes. Yun. Very good. So, yan. So, plug in your answers, Sir LJ. Okay. Hello, Sir Icebon. Ayun, Sir Icebon. Nakabalik ka na. Okay. So,
hello, sir.
Ayan, would you mind reading? Ayan.
Number 49. Maggie, a 6-year-old, always asks her playmates to sit in the front of her small blackboard, and she plays a teacher. Her mother is a teacher. What theory explains Maggie's behavior? A. Classical conditioning. B. Informational processing. C. Operant conditioning. Or letter D. Social learning. So, sir, kung ang tanong sir dito, ano sir yung Maggie's behavior? Kung baga tinatanong sir yung
principle that's guiding that, or theory that guiding sa Maggie's behavior. Ayan. So theory.
Bali sir, kung mag-i-eliminate sir ako, kasi understood naman sir na ang hinahanap sir, may ini-imitate siya, which is under Albert Bandura social learning theory. So my answer sir is letter D, social learning.
Yun, very good. Yan. So sabi ni Sir Ice nga, Albert Bandura imitation. So bakit hindi siya classical conditioning? Bakit hindi siya operant conditioning? So ano yung dalawang iiwanan mo, Sir Icebone? So iiwanan mo ba si classical conditioning as kasama ni social learning?
Parang wala naman sir hinahanap na Pavlovian dito o classical conditioning. Mas ititira ko pa nga sir yung operant, wala naman sir sinasabi
Ano ititira mo?
Yung hindi ko sir alam, yung informational processing.
Okay, information processing. So, yan, yung mga dual coding. So, tatanggalin natin yung what are we going to eliminate? Ayan. So, again, the technique that I'm giving you, I'm not asking you to always use that, no? Pagka naka-encounter kayo ng question na medyo nahihirapan ka, nag-50-50 ka, mag-law of elimination ka. Pero pag sure ka, kasi sabi nga ni Sir Icebond, kay ano to, kay kumparing Albert Bandura to. Okay? So, this is all about social learning kasi sinabi na doon kaagad yung conditions, di ba? Nandun na yung conditions. Why Maggie, a 6-year-old, is behaving like that? That he always sit in front of a small blackboard and play or act as a teacher. Di ba? Bakit siya ganun? Bakit ganun siya mag-behave? Kasi ang tanay niya ay teacher. So yun yung conditions. So ngayon, kaya pala siya ganun mag-behave kasi ang nanay niya ay teacher. Na-condition ba yung utak niya? Meron bang neutral stimulus doon na involved? Na nagkaroon siya ng automatic response na maggagayain niya. So, kaya tatanggal ko si classical conditioning. Ngayon, operant conditioning, meron bang reward and punishment na na-involve? So, operant conditioning is more on reward and punishment, more on consequence and responses. While classical is stimulus and response. Pag sinabi natin stimulus, it is a neutral na nasa na normal nandiyan lang, okay? So informational processing kasi na nakikita niya, okay? Nakikita niya, nagpa-process ng information through sensory. Pero sino yung naging source ng kanyang information processing that will affect on how Maggie will behave? And that is definitely because of a model. Diba? Nakakuha ka na, process mo yung information, pero sino yung source mo ng information? The source of your information is actually a model. That's why you tend now to imitate, ika nga. So that is social learning theory. Very good. So kaya tatanggalin natin yung dalawa na si classical at saka si operant. Yan. Kasi wala naman siyang, hindi naman na-condition si Maggie. Pero base sa kanyang interaction with a model which is actually her mother, kaya naisipan niyang gayahin o maglaro ng act as a teacher. Okay po. So that is social learning. So Albert Bandura, there are 4 processes in Albert Bandura social learning theory. Ano nga yung 4 process ay na Albert Bandura social learning theory? Ano yung una? Para ma-induce natin na nandun yung learning. Bakit nag-behave si Maggie ng gano'n? Kasi lagi niya nakikita si mommy niya na as a teacher. So there is attention. So that's the first, di ba? Attention. Observation or attention. Then next. What's the next? Hindi ko ibibigay So I want you to know about the 4. I have presented that previously in our lesson. No? I presented that in a diagram. The last one is motivation. Yan. Yung motivated ka. Bakit mo ginagaya? Kasi nakikita mo, nag-enjoy si mami. Natutuwa ka. Okay. Attention, retention, reproduction, motivation. Correct. Okay. Or observation, retention, reproduction, motivation. Or motor reproduction. Yan. So, huwag tayo malito pagka-reproduction, baka kasi iba yung ano natin So, lagay natin yung motor reproduction. So, observation, attention, retention. Okay? Retention is part by part, di ba? Part by part. So, na-observe natin yung model natin. Si Maggie, yung nanay niya yung model niya. Nakita niya paano gumalaw si Mami. So, by retention, tinignan niya part by part. Si Mami nag-stay sa blackboard. Andun siya. Tapos nakandun yung estudyante niya. Then, we tend to reproduce that motor reproduction. Then, after that is you will be motivated to do that. Yan. So, that would become motivation. So, yun yung 4. Attention, retention, motor reproduction, and motivation. Thank you very much, Ma'am Joanne, Ma'am Muhaira, for your answer. So keep that in mind po. No? So this is Albert Bandura Social Learning Theory. Okay. Basta merong model, so again, yung teacher yung model. Oh, sorry. I ulit. Okay, thank you, Ma'am Medorlina Suknet Ortega. So you're using acronym, di ba? Para to remember the social learning theory of Albert Bandura. Attention, retention, motor reproduction, and motivation, R. Okay. So let's see. Okay, thank you, Sir Anthony, for your answer. Thank you, Ma'am Moira. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sir. Ma'am Alice. Yan. Ma'am Alice. Okay. Yun. Ma'am, Miss Rodriguez, yes, would you mind to take number 51? Ma'am Rodriguez.
Hello, sir.
No, would you mind taking number 1 po? 51, sorry.
Okay, I will read it. Okay.
Good evening, Sir Ernest. Go ahead, ma'am.
Teacher C. Okay, number 51 question. Teacher C wanted her students to learn the electoral process in action, so they stimulate a copy of the real thing completed with coming up with their own qualification of candidates, manner of campaign, and canvassing of votes. With this, the students learn from A, contrived experiences, B, direct experiences, C, purposeful experience, or D, demonstration. So for me, the STEM here is about the electoral process. So for me, I have to remove the direct experience, just my guess answer, and the contrived. For me, sir, my answer here is letter C, purposeful experience.
Okay. Thank you for that, Ma'am Rodriguez. Okay. So, teacher C. So the stem of the question is all about the learning experience, no? The learning experience that will be the source of learning of our learners. So we actually involve the learner to this particular, no? We actually involve the learner in this kind of learning experience in the classroom. So with that having in mind, so it's not about demonstration. So tanggal na si demonstration kasi we involve the learner in the actual learning. So they are actually involved. So hindi sila nanonood lang. So it's not demonstration. So tanggal si demonstration. Now, tingnan ko yung mga sagot po muna na, okay, so we have a valid answer. Yun. So, direct experience, purposeful experience, contrived experience, yan. So, tanggalin si demonstration, isa na lang yung tatanggalin natin o iiwanan natin. Actually, tatlo yung may iiwan dyan na possible answers. Okay? Contrived, direct, and purposeful. Now, if we what would be the source of our reading or learning in this kind of question? Anyone who can tell me? Ano po? You can plug in your answer in Facebook or in Zoom. What concept that you have learned in college or in school that will be your guide to be able to get the correct answer to this? Anong concept? Sir Icebon, anong concept sa college na-encounter mo tong ganitong klaseng question kunwari or itong contrived, direct, purposeful demonstration? Anong concept or lesson?
Sir, yung sinagot ko parang mababase ko sir yan sa simulation eh.
Okay. So,
kaya sir,
thank you. Okay. May cellphone. May nagkakaroon ng static. Ayan. May tumatawag kay Sir Icebon siguro. Okay. So, thank you for that. So, simulation yung natin. So, anong lesson sa college yan? Diba, ulitin ko ulit. Ang facilitating learning is all about learner experience. So, this will fall under Dale Combs of experience. Yes, very good, Ma'am. Lee Panganiban, Cone of Experience by Edgar Dale. So the Dale Cones of Experience. Okay, the Cone of Experience. Thank you, Ma'am Claire. Yes, Edgar Dale Cone of Experience. So take note. Sabi nga, facilitating learning is the unfolding of experiences as a source of learning. Kaya nga sinasabi natin, experience is the best teacher. Experience is the best teacher. So here, so tanggal natin sa demonstration kasi, again, the students are involved. Okay? Kasi nandun yung word na simulate. So meaning, you are actually involving the learner. So simulation. Yan. So, direct experience and purposeful, iisa lang yan eh. Direct experience and purposeful experience or direct purposeful experience. Iisa lang po siya. Okay? Kaya, maiiwan mo dyan is contrived or direct experience, direct purposeful experience. So, the correct answer would be letter A. That would be contrived experience. So, yung contrived experience, direct experience, or purposeful experience are actually related to each other or talagang closely related dyan pagka tinignan natin yung delcos mamaya, no? Pero ano yung magiging conditions or parameters na mag-guide sa'yo para piliin mo si contrived? So pag direct experience, meaning direct, actual, real. Okay? Nandun talaga. Real. Ibig sabihin, a-attend ng election yung mga bata, which is not possible, di ba? Kahit gusto nating matuto yung bata ng electoral in action, which is really important, very important, especially in a democratic country, Bill of Rights, no, the rights of suffrage. So kailangan malaman ng bata, bakit kailangan natin bumoto? Okay, the rights of suffrage. So hindi natin pwedeng hintayin ang election para lang ituro sa bata yun. So that would be the direct experience. Now, contrived experience is simulation. Nandun yung simulating, meaning the real time, you simulate it. So when we simulate, we are actually using time and space. So again, hindi na natin hihintayin yung election para maintindihan ng bata kung ano yung election. So, pag hinintay natin yung election, pinasama natin yung bata doon, na-observe na yung election talaga, which is the actual process, then that is direct purposeful experience already. Dito, simulate. Nandun yung keyword, simulate. No? So, sabi nga, simulation is a contrived experience. Which is actually, ito yung dapat nating inaano ngayon. So, mock-up. Di ba yung mga mock-up exam. So, hindi natin hihintayin, okay, hindi natin hihintayin na mangyari na yung board exam, bibigyan na kayo kagad ng mock-up, which is a simulation of an actual, pero, bakit? Ano yung tatandaan mo sa contrived? Ito yung tatandaan natin sa contrived. It involves editing. Pag sinabi natin contrived, edit, no? You edit it. You simulate a real life situation, but you infuse editing. Binago mo. So dito, nakita natin, so they simulate a copy. So kung nalito ka pa, ayaw mo pang piliin yung contrived kasi simulate pwede din sa direct experience. There are situations about that. No? Pero nandoon yung the copy of the real thing with coming up with their own qualification of candidates, manner of campaign, and canvassing of votes. Gustong matutunan, gustong ipaintindi ni Teacher Say sa mga bata yung kung ano yung election in action. So in-involve niya yung mga bata, pero binigyan niya ng sariling freedom or edit the real process. Sinimulate mo, pinasukan mo pa ng editing. So that's why this is a contrived experience. The keyword for contrived is edit. So katulad ng mock-up exam sa board exam. Hindi question sa actual board exam yung ginagamit, kundi question based on the review na in-undergo nyo. Na nakita na possible na medyo dito kayo kailangan mag-focus. So, gumagawa ng other question, which is not the same with the actual question. So, nandun yung editing. Maliwanag po. So tatandaan natin, pag contrive, mock-up, model, simulation, and the keyword is edit. Kapag nandun yung edit, involve yung edit, contrive. Pagka yung actual, in-involve mo, direct purposeful. Clear po? Copy? So tatandaan natin, yung simulate is edit. Give me a thumbs up if that's clear. So yun po tatandaan natin. Okay? So additional doon sa mga tinatandaan nyo, na pag contrive, simulation, then pag wala yung word ng simulation, tingnan natin pag may word, that means editing. May binago. Okay? Real life application, pero merong kasamang editing. That's why contrived experience is actually may disadvantage. Bakit? Dito kasi nagkakaroon ngayon, kaya dito papasok tayo as a teacher, facilitator. Kasi na-actually experience na ng bata. And we need to clarify, kasi pag hindi natin clarify, then there would be a distorted view about that certain action. So yun yung disadvantage ngayon ng contrived experience, kasi pwedeng magbago yung pananaw ng bata tungkol doon sa talagang nangyayari. Naintindihan po? So it will result into a distorted view. Kaya as a teacher, kailangan, kung gusto natin gamitin ang contrived experience, kailangan natin siyang i-process. Okay? I-process natin that we are doing this, okay? We are predicting what will be the possible, but this is not what is actually happening. Kasi mas maganda talaga i-involve mo yung bata. Kaya nga meron tayong mga supreme student government para alam nila. Okay? Ganito yung takbo. So again, disadvantage na is distorted view. That's why teacher explanation is a must. Okay, ito yung Dale Cohn's experience. Okay, from the simplest experience to the highest experience wherein there is an involvement. So, contrive, dramatize, direct, purposeful experiences. These are learning by doing. Exhibit, field study trip, demonstration. This is iconic, learning by observation, verbal, yan. So yung nakakaalam po ng Dale Cohn, it's a good advantage for you. Okay, so the same with William Glazer's idea. So ito rin po yung ating ikananay kay Dale Cohn. 10% of what they read and 90% of what they do. So that's why we need to remember that is all about experience. Are we clear po? Copy? So again, yan yung mock-up. Kaya nga sa mga schools, kung pwede tayong gumawa, no? Yung mga gustong magtayo ng schools, no? Pwede tayong magtayo ng mock-up restaurant or mock-up hotel classroom, mock-up law classroom doon sa mga policy. Magkakaroon ka ng mock-up court. Yun, di ba? Yung puro mock-up na. So meaning actual experience nandun, pero merong konting editing kasi hindi yung actual cases yung pag-aaralan mo or yan. Direct experience pagka pinagluto mo yung bata. Yan, direct yan. Yun po. So contrived simulations, so mock-up, models, yun yung pinapangarap ko eh. Na merong isang school na magtatayo talaga ng mock-up classrooms, di ba? Mock-up classrooms. Halimbawa, sa solar system, may mock-up ka ng planetarium, may mock-up ka ng yung mga iba't ibang classroom. Para yung bata mismo na experience na actual. Yung yung may experience niya in real life. Kasi yun naman ang importante ng education. So I hope I am able to help you, enlighten you on our review for today. Yan. So, any question? So, any other thing that you want? Okay. So, dagdag po natin yung mga binigay ko. No? Yun, sabi ni Ma'am Ching Ching. So, we're inviting yung mga mag-enroll na po. Again, our final coaching is last week of August. Okay. So, if you enjoy our review for today, I'm encouraging everyone to please enroll for Teacher A Online Review Center. Yan. So we have a lot of good facilitator, no? So we have a lot of experienced facilitators. Again, we are your review partners. So involving you in our review is the best thing for you to learn. That's why lagi ako nagtatanong. Yan. Kailan po ang next enrollment? Sir Ryan, kindly send a direct message or PM to Teacher A Online Review Center Facebook page. Yung binigay ni Sir Icebon kanina. Ayan. So I hope marami po kayong natutunan sa akin. Thank you, Ma'am Elsie as well. Ayan.
Sir.
Yes, Sir Dennis, go ahead.
Sir, pwede po, sir, instruct ba ako, sir, kung paano po kayo, kung yung stem ng question. Kasi po nalilito po ako, sir.
Okay. So, that's a good one. Thank you, Sir Dennis. So, pag sinabi nating stem of the question, di ba, sabi ko nga, ang prophet question is mostly situational. Bibigyan ka muna ng situations, and those situations are considered to be variables or conditions or parameters. Then nasa bandang gitna o nasa bandang dulo, yung pinaka-tinatanong. So, halimbawa, katulad kanina, ano ba yung tinatanong? Whether it is a theory, a principle, or it is for example, it is a person. Yan. So yung stem, ibig sabihin yung pinaka-tinatanong na pinaikot-ikot pero or in-expound. Huwag na sabing pinaikot, no? In-expound. Okay? In-expound. So kahit palitan mo yung yung pa rin yung pinaka-tanong do sa question na yun. So yun yung tinatawag nating stem. So yung technique na tinuturo ko, Sir Dennis, is underline nyo yung stem. Okay? Kasi sa board exam, pwede kang magsulat dun sa question, sa questionnaire. Underline mo yung stem, ano yung pinaka-tinatanong? Tapos, encircle mo yung conditions. Ibig sabihin, yun yung mag-guide mo from that step of the question. At yung conditions and parameters na yun ngayon ang magiging basihan mo kapag hinahanap mo na yung choices. Kaya sinasabi ko lagi, mag-concentrate muna tayo sa question. Katulad ng ginagawa ko sa inyo, pinapresent ko muna yung question bago ko i-present yung choices. Bakit? Kasi pag present ko na yung buong question at saka yung choices, most likely, hindi ko na makokot yung inyong meta-attention and inyong meta-memory. Bakit? Kasi, for example, na-encounter ko na to sa isang reviewer. Alam ko na sagot dito. So, mauuna ka nang sumagot. Yung pala, meron palang ginawa si Sir Mads na may dinagdag na word. O kaya may binagong word. Kaya iba yung naging sagot. Katulad nung experience ko last time, binigay ko na yung question, kaya sinabi ko, huwag nyo i-memorize ang question. Kasi, isa lang ang madadagdag dyan. Kunwari, learning theory, pinanong doon sa reviewer, tapos binago. Iba naman yung for example, principle, o kaya law. Yan. Yun, thank you, sir. Yan. Nga, hindi ako nakadrink ng water. So, napapaos na ba? Yan. Hindi pa naman ako napapaos. Yan. Natutuwa ako, nagtatanong, Sir Dennis. So, yun yung technique, Sir Dennis, no? Underline the stem. Circle the conditions or parameters. Again, not keywords, Pag in-circle mo yung conditions parameters, pwede ka nang magsulat ng keywords. Katulad ni Sir Icebon. Ang tinandaan niya sa social learning theory is imitation. Yun yung keyword niya. So kaya sinagot niya kaagad, social learning theory to, sir, kasi in-imitate niya yung nanay niya na teacher, which is equal to modeling. Yun naman talaga yung ng social learning theory, model. Okay? The learner learns from their social interaction. Yan. Okay po ba, Sir Dennis?
Yes po, sir.
Nagets po. Yan. So, kasi napaka-importante yung stem of question. Yun yung pinaka natin. Yan. Any other pa po? Paano po process? Okay, welcome. Paano process ng pag-enroll? Again, direct message po kay Teacher A Online Review Center po. I would like the director of our review center to personally answer your question kasi mas siya po yung nakakaalam, no? Si Sir Mads po is just a facilitator for the review. And I will not be able to answer all the queries. So mas maganda po pag nanggaling na po sa pinaka-director natin. Sir Iceborn, may susunod pa sir na session with you. I will know that once Sir Teacher A will give me a slot or a session po. No? And I will always be with you po every time. Medyo ngayon po kasi talaga, actually dapat na may session ako sa inyo nung last time. Pero nagano po ako kay Teacher A kasi may urgent meeting kami sa school. May ginagawa rin po ako. Kaya yun. Sabi ko ngayon na lang. Anyway, I hope I'm able to enlighten you. Okay po. So if you have other questions, on our next review, pag may mga question po kayo na hindi nyo naintindihan sa mga reviewer nyo na gusto nyo i-rationalize ko, feel free, no? Feel free to put it in the chat box or in face or to Teacher A. Pwede kayong mag-ano. So, yan po. Any other thing po? I always enjoy having you as my learners kasi napaka-active. And because that is really what the review is all about. Thank you, Ma'am Maria Lauren. Yan. Thank you po. Kailan po ulit schedule? The schedule would be posted in Teacher A Online Review Center. So meron po tayong Proped, Gen Ed. So enroll na po kayo for our...
Maraming salamat, sir.
Yun. Okay, Ma'am Ching Ching. Yan. So if you don't have any question po, we will call it a day kasi medyo late na dyan sa Pilipinas. Baka hindi pa kumakain yung iba.
Ikaw, sir, kumain ka na, sir.
Yes, kakain na rin ako pagkatapos nito. So,
Ano oras na ba dyan, sir?
it's 4 p.m. Ayan, 5 hours
4 p.m.
difference. Ayan, 5 hour difference po. Ayan.
Pero
So,
thank you, sir. Kahit malayo ka, ini-review mo kami.
Thank you din po. Thank you. My gratitude is for Teacher A Online Review Center for giving me a chance to be part of this review. Nag-enjoy po ako makasama kayo. Okay? Again, I am your review partner and your learning partner din. Kasi yung iba sa inyo education student, so may mga bagong learning kayo na hindi ko na nadaanan, pwede nyo i-share. Kaya kanina, sabi ko nga, sa lesson planning, ganun pa rin ba? Baka kasi iba na. Kaya sinare ko yung, ayan, halatang mas matanda ako sa inyo. Okay? So, yan.
Sir, siyempre teacher ka, sir.
So, thank you po. Thank you very much. Yan. So,
Bye-bye, sir.
Let's call it a day. Enjoy
Ingat palagi
your
dyan.
Ingat din po. Enjoy your meal. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, if you have any other question, direct it to Teacher A po. Okay? Para they can...
Sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
May tanong ako kasi hindi po ako makakuha ng board exam this September. Pero still pa rin magre-review ako.
That's good. So, mas mahaba pa yung preparation, no? Mas maganda.
Oh, gani, sir. At least kahit pa paano. Sige, bye-bye, sir.
Bye.
Ingat.
Have a good sleep. Yan. Okay. Thank you po sa ating Facebook Live viewers. Maraming salamat po for being with me. Sir Iceborn, salamat sa pag-transfer from Facebook to Zoom.
Leave na ako, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Ma'am Queenie, thank you also for your participation. Ma'am Charissa, Ma'am Joanne.
Thank you din, sir.
Dagang salamat sa tanan. So, just feel free to click the end button. Okay? Pag wala na pong estudyante, saka natin ika-pause. So, yun yung pinaka dapat, di ba?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ma'am Queenie. Welcome po. Thank you, Ma'am Greenfield.
Unrecorded na yan, sir? Sir Budget?
Yes, recorded po. Recorded.
Recorded na rin ba? Ang hirap, sir. Pag nag-work, ang hirap sumingit. Gusto ko sumagot.
Kaya nga po, nagdadalawang isip ako tawagin kayo, Ma'am Rodriguez. Talaga, nahirapan pa ako doon sa Rodriguez. Kasi
bigla lang yung sagot ko. Hindi ko na iniisip yung sagot ko kanina.
Na-condition lang ako doon sa Mrs. Labonete, kaya nahirapan ako sa Rodriguez talaga. Kaya na-condition ako sa
Okay.
Labonete.
Labonete talaga.
Kaya,
Sige sir, kung anong gusto niyo, okay lang. Sige.
bago ko kayo tawagin, talagang
Sige na, sige. Miss Laboneta na lang, oh. Ang hirap sir, nag-work kasi ako. Pero nag-reading naman din ako eh. I do my advanced study din.
basta pag may mga question po, nandito
And I think, the most important thing is yung parang you have really to analyze the question itself. Yung sinasabi mong STEM. Alam mo sir, sa lahat na napag-attenan kong mga pag-review, sa inyo talaga ako natuto. Yung kukunin mo yung STEM, tapos you have to remove the two hindi applicable na nasagot, tapos pipili ka sa the best. Yun. Yun, ang ganda.
Thank you very much for that po. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Sir Majid. Okay, thank you. God bless.
That means a lot for me as your facilitator po.
Yes,
it
sir.
really
Okay,
helped you.
right.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. God bless po, God bless. So feel free to click to the end button. And Charissa, I will end now, okay?